Hey guys, my name is Darling and today I'm upgrading my streaming PC. So recently I've struggled quite a lot with streaming where my CPU is generally screaming at me every single time I try and stream something like the latest Call of Duty or Apex Legends, as well as when it comes to video editing, it's taken a decade to render and it's so frustrating. But instead of going out and buying a brand new PC, I've decided to salvage some parts inside my system because I have some pretty decent parts inside here, but I'm just gonna upgrade my platform. So the parts I've decided to go for is a CPU, a motherboard, an SSD, and some RAM. For my CPU, I've chosen the AMD Ryzen 7 3800X. The reason why is mainly because it's double the amount of cores that I have currently. Having 8 cores and 16 threads is going to severely increase my performance when I'm streaming, and also while I'm video editing, it's going to decrease the amount of render time significantly. To go with that, I've chosen the ROG STRIX X570 motherboard, mainly because it's AMD compatible. It's also got new features like being PCIe Gen4 SSD compatible, which is why I've gone for a MP600 SSD from Corsair because it's going to be insanely quick and I can load all my streaming programs and games straight on that. To go alongside that, I have got Corsair Vengeance RGB Pro RAM, mainly because it's AMD certified and it's just going to work seamlessly with all of the AMD kit I've got right here. And it's RGB, who doesn't love a little bit of RGB? I'm gonna set mine to red though, because that's my signature color. Right, so now I'm gonna move all of this stuff aside and I'm gonna go and prep the PC so that I can take out my motherboard and begin inserting the new parts. So I've removed my GPU and set that aside so that I can see my old motherboard a lot clearer. Before I begin to unplug everything, I want to check that all the cables are relatively in the same places so that I can easily take my new motherboard out and pop it in and replug everything else. One thing I do notice is that the USB cable is on my right side of my old motherboard. On the new one, it's actually at the bottom. And also in my old motherboard, I have an 8-pin power adapter. On my new one, I've got an 8-pin power adapter and a 4-pin. So I've put in a new 4-pin power adapter cable, routed that around my PC so I can plug that in so it can support the CPU. Everything else is in relatively the same order, so it's going to be super simple and easy to swap over. The next thing I'm going to do is remove the CPU cooler and set that aside so I can begin building on this as a platform and then pop that straight into the PC and put the cooler on top. So I'm going to begin by unplugging the cable that's in the CPU, setting that aside safely. And then I'm going to unscrew these screws in the CPU. They're not done on too tight, so I don't need a screwdriver at this point because I didn't put it on tight enough. Once these are all undone, I'm going to set aside the CPU so that it's super simple to begin unplugging everything from the motherboard, and I can pop the motherboard out. Oh. So last screw now, I can feel the CPU starting to get a bit wobbly, so it's nice. Oh gosh, oh gosh, oh gosh, oh balls. Okay, it's gone. All right. Last screw, oh gosh. Last screw, and we're done. Oh, oh! I'm panicking. Is this a how not to upgrade your system? Brilliant. Don't get thermal paste on your fingers like I just had. It's a pain to get off. Just as a top tip, and cover your clothes as well. Don't get it on your clothes. Don't do this. Okay, so I'm gonna wipe the thermal paste off the cooler because I'm going to be applying some fresh stuff onto here. Okay, so that's a nice clean surface, so I can put more thermal paste on there, ready for the new CPU. So I'm going to remove my main ATX cable here and my USB, which is super simple. These ones have clips on them so they can be a little bit harder to get out. Kind of just need to wiggle them, and there we go, it's out. These ones are super simple. Pop these out, pop this one out, this one, and then these ones have clips on them which pop out nice and easy. There we go, we're completely disconnected, aside from this sneaky little fan one. I've also got this sneaky one too. Let's get this one out. Nice and simple. Come on, there we go. Okay, cool. So now I can lift this out. No, I can't. I can unscrew it. Okay, so pull that out. Now I can unscrew everything and lift it out. So for that, I have a screwdriver. This is the game of find the screws. So they blend pretty well into the board, but I can see them here. This is when a magnetic screwdriver really helps because it just latches onto the screws like that. And wait, where are you gone? There you are. I don't have to worry about picking them up. Hey. Okay. And that's the last one. All right, I can now take out the motherboard now, carefully. No, I can't. I said can't. Okay, wait, no. We've got 2 more secret ones here. Can you tell I'm not professional? If you're like me, and you're quite silly and not very good at PC stuff, you can actually go on to the Scan website and get a motherboard platform bundle with your CPU and everything else you need on there. So you don't have to put yourself through this stress if you're quite unskilled like me. All right, we're ready. Okay, I'm gonna pop this out from the side and like magic, 5 years of home becomes homeless. I don't know where I'm going with that. There we go. So now I need to put the new components onto my new motherboard before I put the motherboard back into my case. So I've unboxed all my parts now. I'm ready to put them onto my new motherboard. The first thing I'm going to do is the MP600 SSD because I have to fiddle around with a bunch of stuff on the motherboard, take pieces of plastic covers off. So I'm going to begin by doing that. This is the thermal pad. It's got a sticker on it. I'm not going to remove that yet. I'm just going to get the SSD installed first. So I know that the SSD is going to line up roughly to this screw here. So I'm going to pop this onto the motherboard here and tighten that in. Find the screwdriver, pop the other half in, tighten that down so it sits nice and flush with everything else on the board. Then I'm going to peel this sticker off the thermal pad. So satisfying. Put this back on. Well done. Now it's time to install the CPU, which is the most nerve-wracking part because this is the most expensive part of the motherboard, so wish me luck. Okay, so I need to be really careful of the pins for this part. If I bend the pins, then it is pretty much game over. On here, this is a top tip that I've been taught, there is a triangle on one of the corners, and that actually aligns with a triangle on the motherboard itself. So as long as you match the top of the triangle up with what's on the motherboard, you should be golden. But before I do that, I'm gonna lift up this little bar. Yeah, I didn't forget about that. Pop that on, and then line it up so gently. I'm not gonna force it whatsoever. Don't be too scared, ain't gonna break this. Voila, so simple, not as scary as you think. Fingers crossed. Yes, there we go, it's in, and we're all done, almost. Okay, so I've checked the motherboard leaflet to double check where I should put the RAM, and I'm gonna put it in A2 and B2 because that's what it tells me to do. Ooh, not gonna break it. RAM is one of the easiest things to slot into your motherboard. No stress here, pop it in till it clicks, voila. Okay, next one. Pop this one in. Do you know, RAM is actually the only thing I've successfully installed in my system. Everything else I didn't do. I'm not a professional, okay? I'm really not. So this has got nothing to do with Scan. This is my own horrible work. Okay, all done. CPU sorted, SSD sorted, RAM sorted. Gonna put the black plastic cover back on. Not gonna do that. What was that? My executive studio assistant says don't do that, so we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna put this on yet. We're gonna put this back inside my case, put the motherboard screw in there, because I think that's what that is. It looks similar. And then I'm gonna pop this back on somehow, and we'll be done. So, haven't killed off the CPU, which is great. All I need to do now is put the motherboard back into my case, re-plug everything, and then put the GPU in, and I'm pretty much ready to go. So let's get into it. Okay, I'm just making sure that the motherboard is lining up with the screws, because that gives me an indicator that it's not too high and it's not too low. So now that I've done that, I'm going to get my motherboard screws and I'm going to screw these back into place with a screwdriver. So now I'm going to put the black shroud back onto my motherboard. I couldn't do this first because I had a motherboard screw that had to go in first. Now that's in, I can pop this straight on top. Now I'm just going to re-plug all of my cables back into my new motherboard. Okay, last but not least, it's time to put on the CPU cooler. So I need to reapply thermal paste onto the CPU and then put the Corsair cooler on top of it, carefully hooking the screws on and then screwing it into the motherboard. If that goes smoothly, and hopefully it will, I'll be pretty much done. So let's do it. Okay, so I'm just gonna pop the top screw, hook it over the edge of the cooler, like holding thing, I don't know the technical term, whatever that is, hooking that on, hooking it on the other side, And now the cooler is graciously sitting on top of, oops, the CPU. It should be, it is. And now I'm gonna tighten the screws to secure it on top so that it doesn't wiggle about, like that. And the bottom one's done. Now the only thing left to do is the top one, and that is a successful CPU cooler installation. There we go. Now all I'm going to do is pop my GPU back into my system, tidy up the cables a little bit, and then we should be ready to hit the power button. Oh wait, well, we forgot about the USB to power the RGB on the cooler. So this is so that I can control the RGB actually on the Corsair cooler. So this just pops into the side, like that. Now we're all done. Okay, motherboard, graphics card, everything's inside the system. Now we just need to turn it on, cross our fingers, and hope that it just turns on. So let's give it a go. Good? Yay! No burning motherboard, no burning motherboard. Yes, I can build a PC. Ha! Well, technically just swap my platform, but ha! I can do it. Oh, look, the RGB on the motherboard. Oh, that's so cool. I can't wait to get this home and start streaming and seeing how quick it is when I'm rendering on my video editing software. I'm really excited. I'm so happy. Thanks to AMD, Corsair and Asus ROG for supplying these parts and helping me out with what I chose. Absolutely amazing, so thank you very much for that. So as you can see, it's really simple to upgrade your streaming PC, but actually all you need to do is just change your platform. Depending on what parts you want to change, it's super simple, but if you don't think that you can do it, 3XS do have a motherboard bundle that you can purchase on the website where they install the RAM, the CPU, everything that you need already on the motherboard, so it's just a case of swapping your old motherboard with your new motherboard. So that is always an option if you don't want to do what I did today, but as you can see, it's super simple and you can salvage the parts that you already have inside your current system without buying a new one. So tell me in the comments box below what you thought of my PC building / platform changing journey, if I did okay, if I did bad, if I should do something different, or just any general advice for me, let me know. And if you haven't already, hit like on this video and subscribe to this channel and check out more Scam Pro gaming content on our YouTube channel. If you want to follow me, my social is Rage Darling on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook, and you can check me out on YouTube and Twitch at twitch.tv/Rage Darling and youtube.com/Rage Darling. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!